This community has become more than I could have ever dreamed of when I first set out and launched this podcast. It's shown me that even when you feel like your cup is empty, pouring that last little drip out into someone else's cup somehow can magically refill your cup a little bit. Hello and welcome back to Calling in Sick. I'm your host, Alex Wildeson. It's officially 1 year of Calling in Sick. Thank you guys for being along for this ride. I still can't believe it's been a year. Doesn't feel like it could possibly have been that long. And every time I sit down to record, still feels like the very first time I've ever recorded, aka I'm full of nerves, not quite sure which direction the episode's going to go, and just praying for the best. So thank you guys for sticking along as this podcast has evolved and grown and being a part of this community. Before we dive into this episode, I have so much to catch you guys up on. If you guys have not been following along on my socials, there is a lot of lore to fill you guys in on, including a 9-hour stint in the emergency room that ended up with me just going home because I was never seen by a provider. I learned some lessons. One of them was that I needed to re-listen to the episode I released last October about how to go to the emergency room or hospital with a chronic illness. Apparently, I had amnesia and forgot every single tip and trick I have learned over the last 25 plus years of being chronically sick. But Wednesday, I woke up and I decided not to just waste away and collapse into an early Victorian plague death, but instead to go right back to the very same ER that did not see me the day before. I took some of my manifesting drops beforehand, said a prayer because you just throw everything in the kitchen sink when you're trying to really dig for a miracle there. Arrived, walked in the door, was put into a bed, not just a triage bed, but a bed in the ER in less than an hour and a half. I also heard the attending say, "Oh, she has mixed connective tissue disease. One of my friends has that. It's terrible. We need to take good care of this girl." Shook. I am shook to my core. Because that, I don't think, has ever happened in all my 25 years of being sick. So to say the least, it was a very smooth emergency room trip. We were there for, I think, still like 6 or 7 hours. But we did all the things. Fluids, a shit ton of IV steroids, and then symptom control. What we deduced is that I am having a PAN flare-up, likely because I tried to taper these steroids at an inappropriate time. We're still figuring out this protocol. We don't know if the current protocol is totally cutting it. So that was a bit eager beaver of me. And it was a perfect storm. I was coming back from travel, coming back from filming a TV show, coming back from hosting some friends over the weekend. I was running low on spoons, basically on empty, recovering from that gnarly cold I had at the start of August. And had that nice little IVIG reaction that just tipped the balances not in my favor. But here we are on Friday. I'm fine, which we all know is chronic illness coded for not super fine, but okay enough. Luckily, I have an appointment with my rheumatologist this coming Monday, and we are going to figure some shit out so I can be better than I'm fine. But until that rheumatology appointment, we have some exciting things. So I know I've been teasing about this for probably 3 months at this point, but your girl was cast in a TV show, and it aired on Saturday, September 6th at 9 a.m. on YouTube. Woo! So you've been probably wondering, what TV show was it? It's called Born Different. It is a YouTube British TV show that basically does these mini documentary videos on people that live with challenging diseases, disabilities, XYZ, and showcases how they try to live a full, meaningful, and full life. So, from 9.5 hours of filming that we did on one day, they have boiled it down into 10 minutes, and I cannot wait. I got to watch the sneak peek of it, actually, in the emergency waiting room on the Hellish Tuesday. I'm very pleased with how it came out. I'm so excited for you guys to watch it. Tomorrow morning cannot come soon enough. Now, I'm not going to give away all the spoilers, so you actually do have to go watch the episode on YouTube if you want to know what happens in it. But in preparation for it, I had to reflect a lot on my life. What did I want to showcase? What did I want people to walk away with? What was the message I was trying to convey? I realized this is a great time for me to do a reflection episode on the first full year of Calling in Sick. Pinching myself still that we are a year into this. It's a dream come true, and I am so grateful for you guys. So to kick things off, you guys know I have an Alex's Picks every single week. These are my top 4 picks of this last year. The 4 things that I picked are items that either I have used and run out and refilled more than once this year, 2 have had a momentous impact on my health or wellness, and 3 are something I truly think any sick chick needs to have in her arsenal. And we're going to kick it off with Divi, because Divi's hair serum is what has allowed me to grow this long blonde hair. 2 years ago, I could hardly put my hair into a ponytail. I was still growing my hair out from post-Cytoxin chemotherapy. It was this weird texture. I was so sad because I loved having long hair. Well, she's back, and she's not just long, but she's healthy. And truly, I chalk that up to Divi, their serum, and their dry shampoo. You can use code Alexandra15 to go try it out for yourself, but that is my holy grail hair product. My second pick is that TLC thing that I always have in my pocket because it makes me feel just an inch better whenever I use it, and that's Tilt's Lip Treatment. 1, because it's incredibly nourishing and now I just don't have dry skin on my lips. And 2, because whenever I grab for my Tilt Lip Hydration or the mascara, I get to have a little celebration moment because Tilt Beauty was created by and for the disabled and chronically ill community. So if you want to support your fellow baddies, go check it out. You can use code Alexandra15 to get 15% off any of their products. My third pick is honestly shocking. You guys have probably noticed that I don't like to share all of the different million supplements I take every single day because the supplements I take are hyper specific to my microbiome and all the functional testing I've done over the last 2 years. However, there are a few supplements I am willing to share because I think it transcends anybody's microbiome and could benefit all of us. And there's 2. 1, you guys know I talk about it all the time. Hilma. Hilma has the gluten and dairy digestive enzyme that will always be stocked in this household. I carry it in my purse. I have it in the kitchen. There's one in the car. And I force it on my healthy friends too. Because you know what? I'm pretty sure everyone's body these days has a hard time digesting gluten and dairy just because of how it's produced in the United States. So this supplement is not just for you, but for your friends and family. You can use code Alexandra20 for 20% off anything on their website. The second supplemental product that I love is Parallels Green Powder. It is all of that delicious green stuff that you're supposed to eat in a day, but if you're like me and you're nauseous all the time and you just cannot simply get down all those greens, this isn't going to do the full job, but it will get you closer. So give it a try. It's definitely helped regulate all of my digestive issues, and your girl has dealt with some serious constipation issues her entire life. In college, it was a different story. I had constant diarrhea, but that's a story from a different day. Anyway, you can use code Alexandra. You'll get a discount at checkout. And my last and probably one of my all-time go-to favorite desert island tools forever, the higher dose PEMF mat. It is a pretty penny, yes. The PEMF mat is kind of like a heating pad on steroids. Ironic, because I too am on the roids. You get the benefit of something heat, cuddly, perfect for a duvet day, perfect for those achy joints. But there's also beneficial things going on at the cellular level that you're not even aware of, and you have to have, and you do zero effort, 0 spoons to feel a little bit better. Every single time I get IVIG or Rituxan or any kind of therapies, I am on that PEMF mat for hours afterwards, and I do swear by it. I feel better when I do it than if I don't do it. Those were all things that I discovered in this last year, which goes to show you, in 1 year, if you add some things to your arsenal, you do have new tools to get you through those flare days a smidge bit easier. So, happy building your toolbox. I hope that there's space for those things in it. Enjoy? Question mark? All right, but let's get into the nuts and bolts of this episode. One question I get asked all the time is, why did I launch Calling in Sick? And there's probably a billion reasons why, but the main 3 that I keep coming back to are 1, and I think this will resonate with most of you guys. I remember my first appointments, sitting in a specialist waiting room, going to support groups, looking on Facebook for support, and nobody looked like me or felt like me. A lot of people are in different stages and chapters of their lives, and I was 24, at the start of my career, recently married, and I had tons of hopes and dreams and aspirations ahead of me. And what I kept running into is a lot of people that said, stop dreaming of those things and just submit to being sick forever. And it felt like they were holding up a sign that said, you have to look sick like this. And I didn't like that because I have been sick for 25 years. I'm not new to this rodeo. I already wasn't fitting into what they were describing sick needed to look like. So I wanted to launch a place where all walks, all different types of looking sick could show up, feel seen, feel heard, feel safe, and find their people. The second reason why is I wanted to broaden what people were sharing about living with chronic illness. There's a lot of accounts out there that are so educational and so helpful, do amazing advocacy work, and really pull back the curtain about the nitty-gritty parts of being chronically sick. But what I didn't see or find was people just living their life and also sharing what it was like living with chronic illness. Because yes, although of course my illnesses are a massive part of my life, how could they not be? It's not my entire life. I'm also a wife. I'm a sister. I'm a daughter. I'm a consultant. I'm a podcaster. I'm a content creator. I love to garden. I'm a dog mom. I dream of being a human mom one day. I'm not just sick. And so it was so important to me to show people that you could be sick in a different way than society deems is the only acceptable way to be sick. That you can have hobbies, you can have aspirations, you can have hopes. And granted, I hope I'm showing that you just might have to go about it in a rather unconventional way. And I guess in that same vein, I wanted to show that even though I have a very unique set of diagnoses and have been sick since I was a little kid, you and we share symptoms, we share stories, we share experiences, we speak a language together that other people will never understand. I feel like when we're chronically sick, it's so easy to isolate and just live on this little island where we feel like all of the struggles that we go through are individual, that no one else in the world has gone through this. But going through this whole podcast experience and meeting y'all and getting to hear your stories, I've realized even more now more than ever that being chronically sick is not a unique experience. These shared things have all made me feel less alone. And what I love about the Calling in Sick community is that I think that holds through to each of us. This isn't the community where people one-up each other and try to say, I'm sick or I have it worse. No, when somebody is sharing their struggle, the community turns in and loves on them. And that is one of the most beautiful things I have seen. This community does not let each other sit in the muck alone. They also don't let you sit in the muck for too long. If you are going through it, you can vent. There is a space for you to do that here. You can dump all of that shit out. But you also are going to have your big siblings around you to say you're getting back on your feet and you're getting up again, because life is still beautiful even when it's hard, because you can have hard moments and still have a beautiful life. And that love just percolates. I feel it. I hope you feel it. And although this podcast is very obviously for us chronically sick baddies, I also wanted this to be a podcast where I could have clips that put into words things that are really hard to describe, so that someone listening could say, that's what I've been trying to say, and send it to their friend, their family, their coworker, their boss. And it takes the burden off of each of us of having to explain all of these little intricacies of living with chronic illness. And lastly, you guys know I'm a dork. I love to learn. In every guest episode I have, every topic deep dive that we do, I walk away learning something new, and I feel like a part of me has grown, or a part of me that needed to break broke. That kind of transformation or evolution, I needed this last year. Because over the last 2 years, I had a lot of change. Some really, really tough traumas, some heartbreaking losses, and that's where the buck stopped. I could no longer cling to denial of this identity that I could do it all despite being chronically sick. That is wonderful if you can live in that bubble. But after 25 years of really trying to fit myself in a bubble that was pushing me out, I realized maybe I can't do it all, and maybe that's actually a good thing and okay. And when I first opened up about struggling with my identity like that, struggling with this acceptance grief curve of chronic illness, y'all turned in and gave me love, and also held me accountable that when I was overdoing it, you guys were in the comments joking around with me, poking little fun, and keeping me in check and in line, which I love. I'm so grateful to have friends like you guys at this point, because you guys didn't let me return to being a finance and chronic illness girly that can just do it all. You guys reminded me that it's okay to go 80-20, that it's okay to slow down, to not have such urgency in life over stupid shit, that all things come with time. So I guess you guys have helped me practice what I preach. Now, that was probably the biggest learning I had with this podcast, but there were also some other self-imposed beliefs I needed to break up with in order to dive into the entrepreneurial world, the creative space, in this whole new world that I did not know anything about, and I felt like the biggest imposter. I felt like because I was chronically sick, I wasn't going to be able to complete something, that I would launch a podcast and inevitably it would dwindle out and it would fail. I don't know why I held that belief. That's not who I am. I am not a quitter. You guys know I'm not a quitter, but that is something that I had internally held, that I wasn't good enough to create something that would last. And I'm so proud of myself for coming to a year and seeing that I built something that did last, that I am still able to do this in flare-ups, in good times, when I'm home, when I'm traveling. And honestly, I don't think that that would be the case if it was for a different thing. Like if this was a podcast about finance, Lord knows that would burn out. But this is something I love. It gives me so much energy and fuels my tank and makes me want to wake up every morning. So thank you for helping me break up with that belief that was not true and it was not self-serving. Just because we have a chronic illness does not mean we can't do something, but it does mean it will redirect you to actually do the things you are supposed to do in this life. And in that pathway, you will be able to achieve whatever you want. In that same vein, I thought I had lost my ambition or drive and I did an entire episode on it. But what I came to at the end of that episode was that I hadn't lost my ambition and drive. It just had been directed at something that wasn't filling my tank. And if you want to hear more about that whole topic and evolution, go check out that episode about losing my drive or my ambition. The TLDR of it is that if you are chasing something that is not meant for you, that is draining, sucking the soul out of you, it's going to be really, really hard to keep that ambition and drive going when you're chronically sick. We don't have enough energy to fake it until you make it. I mean, we do, but about other things. We don't have enough energy to just keep on showing up for shit that does not matter. That we're like, this is fucking pointless and I want to pull my hair out. But if it's something that you love and brings you meaning and joy, you will have the drive to do great things. But I also realized that if you do something 80% of the time and not 100% of the time, that's still good enough. I didn't release an episode every single week of this last year. I think I hit all but 3 or 4 weeks, but that's not 100%. I'm not beating myself up about it. I don't feel bad about it. I think it's okay to not live in such a rigid, self-imposed, structured way. I think it's healthy to have 80-20 and flexibility and accommodate your life with how it's going. You don't need to put stress where stress does not belong. And that's something I don't think I will ever change my mind on. And I am eternally grateful that I really learned that lesson this year. And now it is part of my DNA. And the unspoken amazing thing about having an 80-20 mindset in approaching your life is that you can enjoy the ride then. You don't have to uphold your diet standards 100% of the time. Lord knows that's what Hilma's gluten and dairy supplements are for. Your girl likes to break the diet and indulge in a really, really good pasta with cheese every now and then. Life's short, eat the damn pasta. And if you do eat that damn pasta and you end up feeling crummy, you can ask for help. Because another thing that I think we all came to terms with this year is that we all struggle with asking for help. It's natural to have that stubbornness of I can do it, I can do everything, and fighting that chronic illness identity off. Because if you're like me, you think if you accept that you are actually chronically sick and cannot do everything, that means you're failing. And you are not failing. And asking for help is not failing. It is actually a huge sign of success. It is an evolution and growth in your chronic illness journey, because what you are doing is you are opening your door in your world to let your loved ones in. You're taking off the mask, you're being vulnerable. And one thing I didn't really appreciate until I had to be a caregiver a couple of times this year is that getting to help somebody and getting to give them love or support or comfort or make them feel better is a gift to myself. So when I had those experiences, all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is what Cooper has meant when he said, it feels like a gift that I get to give you when I get to help you. So stop saying, no, I don't want your help, because that's like slapping, what's it called? Slapping a horse in the mouth? Slapping a gift horse in the mouth? Looking the gift horse in the mouth? Whatever that saying is, it's what you don't do. It's not proper gift receiving etiquette, if you will. And since I've been sick my entire life, I've let my family in. They know my ups and my downs. But what I had not really done was let my friends in. Let them see the nitty gritty, the really, really bad depression days, the horrible pain spikes, the worst of the worst. I had never wanted to scare them or feel like a burden to them. And it was such a relief when I was finally able to accept their help, let them in, let them see my most vulnerable spots, because it brought some of the most beautiful friendships so much closer this last year. And those friends, those girlfriends, huge shout out. You know who you are. I love you deeply. Thank you so much for being there for me this last year, through the thick and the thin, ups and the downs. I don't think I could have gotten through some of those really, really bad depressive episodes without you guys. So love you. And on that note of shifting our paradigms and our worldviews and blah, 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 I am so happy and so proud that this community has embraced duvet days. If there is one thing that we could just knock out of the park this year, it was shifting how we view rest. That our self-worth is not defined by our productivity, that resting is productive. And now we've even taken it a step further and we have romanticized our rest days. We've all set up these cozy, cute little duvet, cuddly corners in our homes for when we don't feel good. And we give ourselves over to that rest, because Lord knows if you try to do everything and rest at the same time, that multitasking is just going to burn you out. Giving yourself over to the rest is the best thing that you can do for yourself. And that doesn't always have to be at home in your personal duvet. One thing I've learned this year, because I traveled a little bit more, sometimes for health, sometimes for fun, is that you can feel like shit staring at a white wall, or you can feel like shit staring at an ocean. Whenever you get to that point where you're somewhat stable in your health, and we've talked about it on the podcast before, where you can break through and your world doesn't have to be so small and so controlled to protect yourself from the what ifs of a flare-up, I deeply encourage you, and I think this next year of calling in sick, I want that to be core, and I'm not quite sure how I'll finesse that, but I am going to somehow find a way to help us all get a little bit more comfortable getting out of our safety zones and feeling safe to feel however we feel, not just at home. And I'm so glad that we brought duvet days into the core of calling in sick. And for season 2, I guess, year 2 of calling in sick, I have some high aspirations of other things I want this community to embrace full-heartedly, and I can't wait to see at this time next year what we decided to grab onto, commit to, and do together. Speaking of looking back a year in advance, I was thinking, what is one thing I wish I could have told myself 1 year ago today? And I have 2. And you guys know I'm a mantra girly, so they're kind of mantra-esque. The first one is that although not every hardship needs to have a lesson gleaned out of it, you will inevitably learn something about yourself because of that hardship. And that is not toxic positivity, but that is allowing yourself to grow. And we have a lot of hardships being chronically sick baddies. More than the average Joe, I would say. And if I could make one wish for all of us that is fathomable and has space in reality, is that we do get to evolve from each of these hardships. And it doesn't always have to be so serious, like the stories I've shared at my absolute pit bottom and my dad picked me up and gave me that good old life talk of medicine's evolving, don't lose hope. Sometimes it can be just as superficial as, man, if I treat myself to a spray tan, I actually do get a dopamine boost, extra spoons, and I am much happier. And boy, does my love of spray tans hold so strong. I will be carrying that into year 2 of calling in sick in my life, obviously. And I used to only get spray tans for really big moments, but I found some at-home spray tan stuff. So I'm going to start treating myself, who knows how frequent, but I'm going to start treating myself on regular, normal, not big, froofy, special, important weeks, because even the mundane moments, the boring day, the boring week, because even when we're stuck in those Groundhog Day weeks or moments of flares that go on forever and feeling like absolute shit, those moments come and go, and you will never have that day ever again. And so if we don't find little ways to enjoy, even during those shitty periods, life will just pass you by at the blink of an eye. And I do not want to wake up when I'm 80 and go, good Lord, a groundhog stayed all the way from 30 to 80. I missed 50 years of my life. No, I want to be able to find glimmers even during the Groundhog Day moments and flares from hell. And that, I have learned, is just a choice. Choosing to find the good, the gratitude in life. That's something that's fully in our hands and up to us. No one's going to give that to us to make us feel better. It's not a magic pill you can take. But I've found that if you do a little reflection every single day and you pull out and make yourself think of the good moments, the things you're grateful for, life can't slip right by you. And if you want to hear how I got to that mindset shift, we did that together in the Groundhog's Day episode, and came to the conclusion we're going to start asking the universe, show me how good it can get, and then we're going to write down the few things that we saw during our day that were pretty great, like catching baby lizards outside, or having a really perfect chocolate chip cookie, or the Great British Bake Off dropping all of their new episodes on one day. Your life will look like however you view the world. Our brains are such good filters, so if you force your brain to focus on certain things, that's how you're going to live and see your life in your day. Now, I am not a fortune teller, and I have no idea what the next year will look like for Calling in Sick, but I feel in my gut like there is momentum going. We have new people on our team. I can't wait to introduce you guys to them. I'm launching an extension of the Calling in Sick podcast into a community-focused app later this year, and I'm so excited about that. And even though I'm still in a flare-up, I have hope that I'm going to start feeling better, or at least acclimate to this and make it my new normal, and then feel in charge, like I'm in the driver's seat again of this new normal. Because I see motherhood on the horizon, and I will find a way to get there one way or another. And in true form, I have somehow made a long story longer than it needed to be and rambled through this entire episode. But what I really want to say is thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. This community has become more than I could have ever dreamed of when I first set out and launched this podcast. It's shown me that even when you feel like your cup is empty, pouring that last little drip out into someone else's cup somehow can magically refill your cup a little bit. Thank you for taking care of each other, for taking care of me, and for taking care of yourself. I hope that you feel empowered to let joy and pain coexist in your body. That you feel empowered to still chase after dreams that you hold so closely to you. That you feel safe to tear down some of those self-imposed limiting beliefs. I think that's a buzzy word for Gen Z. And that you feel the power of helping others, and you let that also reciprocate back into your life and can feel the love of others giving you help and support. I can't wait for year 2 of this podcast. It's been such a magical journey, and I think we've got great things ahead for all of us. And to wrap it up, my one brain cell segment. I promised at the top of the episode that you are going to hear the hack of all hacks for TV watching. It's Netflix specific, but get ready to have your mind blown. How many times have you spent a Friday night, a Saturday, a Sunday afternoon scrolling on some streaming platform trying to find the most perfect thing to watch, and then all of a sudden you've burned an hour and a half, haven't landed on something to watch, are frustrated, end up watching a repeat of The Office, and go to bed? Those moments suck because I feel like you get so close to orchestrating the perfect duvet evening, and it gets ripped out of your hand by somewhat executive dysfunction, and also somewhat, streaming platforms recommending the most bizarre things to you to watch. So, on Netflix, there is a secret menu of codes that you can type into the search bar, and it will only populate movies and TV shows that fit the genre that that code aligns to. I'm talking action comedy, adult cartoons, classic comedies, rom-coms, stand-up, reality TV comedies, the whole 9 yards. I'm really just highlighting comedies because you guys know I'm a comedy girly, because you guys know I love a comedy anything. But there's also different codes for like sci-fi, horror, documentary, action, war movies, stuff like that. I will link in the description the article that gives you all of these codes so that you don't have to get stuck in the doom scroll and burning of a perfectly good TV or movie watching afternoon, evening due to indecisiveness. But if that still feels overwhelming, don't worry. I'm about to run down my favorite shows that I'm watching right now on the top 5 streaming services. First and foremost, Amazon Prime. What am I watching? I'm watching what everyone else is watching. The Summer I Turned Pretty, fucking obviously. Last week, I, thank God, was mistaken. And I thought that I had watched the final episode of season 3, because it was episode 8, and season 1 and season 2 only had 8 episodes. So, culpa mia if I freaked you out on my personal Instagram. But alas, I was corrected. There are 2 remaining episodes. Well, by the time this airs, 2 remaining episodes. Sorry. Spooked you again, I bet. Why am I watching that show? Because it is adorable. It's the will they, won't they. Who's gonna win? The tale as old as time. The brooding, waxing, poetic, romantic personality. Or the fun, popular boy. If you guys are curious, I bet you can guess which team I'm on. And to make things fun, guess in the comments if I'm Team Conrad or Team Jeremiah. The first 3 people that get it correct, I will Venmo you $5 for a coffee on me. Happy guessing. On Netflix, I'm watching The Great British Bake Off because they just dropped the new season. That is my all-time favorite comfort show. Clarkson's Farm on Amazon is a close second. I love how the British baking community supports one another. For example, the person that is clearly winning, they finished their task early. They don't just stop. They go and they help their peers out. It is so beautiful to watch. I feel like it parallels with the calling in sick community quite a bit. When someone's up and they notice someone's down, you link arms with them and you help them feel a little bit better. It is beautiful. I feel like there are very few communities that are able to transcend the negative humanisms of me first competition, blah, and actually love and support one another. It's so cool. Hulu is another obvious one, Only Murders in the Building. It's literally America's dads and the chronic illness queen herself, Selena Gomez. If you've not watched it, it's not a scary murder show. It's a comedy because it's Steve Martin and Martin Short. And you know those two would not lead you astray. On Peacock, I'm watching The Paper. It's the new kind of spinoff of The Office. Cooper and I were very apprehensive when we started it the other night, thinking, why would anyone dare to try to recreate The Office? Well, we're 2 episodes in, and I have to say, we belly laughed not just once, but at least 10 times last night. So I think they're in the right direction, and I do actually think this is going to become an iconic American sitcom. And last but not least, on Apple TV, we are watching Platonic, mostly because we love Seth Rogen. He is hilarious. I read his book, Yearbook. If you've not read that, go check it out. It's phenomenal. You will laugh to the point where you pee your pants. It's lighthearted. It's a best friendship. We're only 1 season in, so don't give me spoilers if shit hits the fan and things go south, because right now I'm really enjoying the show. And of course, YouTube. My favorite show on that, Born Different. Tune in tomorrow at 9 a.m. if you want to know why. Okay. And I think we did it. I think that is year 1 of Calling in Sick in review. I'm trying to think about how to end this thing without being cliche as fuck, but I'm just that girl. You know I'm sentimental. You know I love a good mantra. So I guess we'll end it with I love you. I'm grateful for you. Thank you for being a part of this community, and onwards and upwards to year 2. Cheers and happy Monday. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining me for another week of Calling in Sick. As a reminder, I would love for y'all to like, follow, subscribe, save, share with a friend, do all of the things. It truly, truly helps grow this community, and it helps these episodes reach the people that need them the most, whether that's for an educational piece, to have a little laugh, or to not feel so alone. As a reminder, Calling in Sick sits on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify, and anywhere else where you can find your listens. From the bottom of my heart, I absolutely love you guys. Thank you so much for calling in sick with me every Monday. It's been an honor and a pleasure so far, and I can't wait to continue building this community with y'all. Love you.